The ultimate political battle of the year unfolds. All eyes on Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Who will emerge victorious? Will the saffron surge overpower Maharashtra's alliance politics? Can the BJP breach Hemant Soren's bastion in Jharkhand? Stay with Mirror now for all the verdicts and all the voices that matter. Battle for the states.
Hello and welcome to our special coverage as Maharashtra braces for the big reveal. Election results now just hours away. But even before the numbers are out, the political chessboard is already buzzing with activity. Both the MVA and the Mahayuti have resorted, quite literally, to high-end hotels, choppers flying in candidates, and strategies being thrashed out behind closed doors. So essentially, we as citizens fund the elections, and then we fund luxurious resort stays for our politicians as well. It's chaos for the politicians, but what does it mean for the people of Maharashtra? Is this a battle of morals versus money, alliance versus ambitions? Are we witnessing twists and turns of this tumultuous power play? There's one question, though, that looms large. Who will win this Mahabharat? And more importantly, what does it mean for you, that is the voter? Let's dive in with our panel of experts, thanking all of them for joining us. Krishna Hegde, spokesperson of the Shiva Sena. Karan Verma is an author joining us on the broadcast. Anish Gawande is the national spokesperson of the NCP, of the Sharad Pawar faction. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, joining us on the broadcast as well. And Dr. Uday is joining us on the broadcast. He will continue to be with us tomorrow as well. Dr. Uday, I'm going to start with you. There are 3 new exit polls in the fray. They happened last night. The big reveal was last night, Dr. Uday. And 2 of them, at least 2 of them, are giving the Mahayuti a clean sweep, much as you have been predicting. And one is being a little cautious and saying, look, Mahayuti has the edge, but 61 seats, too difficult to predict. We cannot do that, right? I want to ask you, Dr. Uday, if the exit polls are so confident that the Mahayuti is winning this election and winning this election by a margin, and you are someone who believes in that as well, तो ये resort politics क्यों शुरू हो रही है?
That's because before any big event, there is last-minute nervousness, last-minute anxiety, which is always there, and that too also that if Mahayuti is coming up, what's going to be the portfolio? Who is going to be the CM? And if our party is not getting the CM post, can we struck a deal with someone else? Quite a few things are under the smog. So don't think that your Delhi is the only polluted city on the earth. We are competing with you with our political pollution now rising high. And that's what even the mercury is now going below the low and low. And it's the pollution which is going high. Why there is little uncertainty? There are 2 reasons for it. First is, while the voting percentage has gone up, that's certainly done deal. But who has exactly come out to vote? That is something which is not, people are not very sure about. For that, you need to go booth-wise and do that analysis. And it will going to take some time. By the time the result would be out. Number 2, Marathwada belt. So now, this is very, very interesting. Marathwada belt, where there are 36 seats, out of which only 8 seats. And these 8 seats are the epicenter of reservation demand. There, the voting percentage has actually gone down. And this is something which I, as a cephalogist, is also baffled that why this could be. While at some other places, I can see that voting has gone up because of 2 factors. One is the Labharthi Yojana, they came out. And second is that youths have come out in large number to vote. Now, one can easily draw the conclusion from that if youths have come out and if Labharthis have come out in so well, and that to women, where the percentage of women in some of the constituencies have gone as high as 6 to 7%. Now that means it's going to be, कल जो मैंने कहा था कि सत्ता की राखी लाडली बहना ने पहना दी. That's the concern. So that's the scenario at this point of time.
And if that happens,
yeah.
If that happens, then Karan and Tehseen, if that happens, the Mahayuti has the Election Commission to thank for, because the Election Commission actually delayed the elections. That is the conspiracy theory. They of course delayed the elections, but the conspiracy theory was that the Mahayuti wanted to ensure a few more installments into the bank accounts of women, the 6.3 crore women, to benefit from them.
Also the procurement of soybean and cotton.
But I want to ask you, in fact, just to make a point about Marathwada, since Dr. Uday spoke about Marathwada, C voter, Yashwant Deshmukh, I was having a conversation with him earlier today. It's interesting that Marathwada is the only place, the only amongst the 5 regions in Maharashtra, according to him, where it is the Maha Vikas Aghadi that will do better than the Mahayuti. So that was something that was...
So he's giving Vidarbha to Mahayuti?
Yeah, all of them. All
I
4
don't think
except
I don't think that
except
Marathwada. I think Vidarbha Congress will be the biggest.
Possibly.
I do.
But I want to ask you, since this is what happens on the eve of every election, right? Jharkhand was predicted to be a close contest. That is exactly how it's turning out. So, you understand why the Jharkhand Morcha right now is planning to ferry all its MLAs or people who are expected to win to Calcutta, and possibly then to Telangana as well, if they want to put more distance between the BJP and their MLAs. I want to ask you, it's happening in Maharashtra as well, which means jittery to sab log hai, irrespective of what the exit polls are saying. And most exit polls are giving this election to the Mahayuti. There are jitters and there are butterflies in everyone's stomach this evening. No one is quite sure.
Yeah, no one's quite sure how Maharashtra is going. But I believe very firmly that from Batenge to Katege to Vinod Tavreji's Batege to Jeetege, and the fake audio clips of Supriya ji and Nana Patole shows that the BJP was even more jittery. And therefore, this prolonged time given by the Election Commission to allow the BJP to campaign, procure the soybean, procure the cotton at 15% moisture, so that there's some sort of benefit for the BJP out there. But having said all of that, and now that the elections are over, I do believe 2 of the things are sure. I believe the MVA will prevail, with the Congress obviously being the single largest. And then the chief...
the Congress being the single largest party?
If MVA comes to power, Congress would obviously, they fought the most seats, so it's obvious. And I think with Sharad Pawar's guidance, Sharad Pawarji's guidance and Sonia ji's guidance, the 2 most mature leaders in the MVA, I think they can work it out on who will be the chief.
But what is giving you this level of confidence, given the fact... Okay, I understand that 6 months ago, the Congress-led alliance, which is the Maha Vikas Aghadi, had done very well. Right? I understand that. But between then and now, there is something called the Ladki Behan Yojana. Yeah. Which has benefited 2.6 crore women, 2.3 crore women.
They did a Ladka Bhai also.
But I think Ladki Behan is working better for them than Ladka Bhai, because it seems, at least by the numbers we have so far, that women have voted more for the Mahayuti than men. Right? I want to ask you, what gives you the confidence? I understand what happened 6 months ago, but between then and 6 months ago, there's something called Ladki Behan Yojana that has come into play.
I think we are riding too much on, or the BJP is riding too much on the Ladki Behan Yojana. I think the women of Maharashtra, and they've been the most progressive citizens of India. The women's education movement started from Maharashtra, Savitri Bai Phule. I think the women also know that you cannot for 4.5 years or 4 years, 10 months, make us suffer, create the kind of atmosphere and the kind of governance that the BJP created, and then 2 months later come up with Ladki Behan and say, okay, we will vote for you. So the women are not going to accept that. The BJP thinks it's very easy to con citizens of Maharashtra. Therefore, everywhere in Maharashtra I went, everyone said, "Sabse badi bhool Kamal ka phool." Everybody said that.
You were speaking to only one kind of people.
No, I was speaking to a diverse range of people. I was speaking to everyone from Vidarbha to Marathwada, from Konkan to Western Maharashtra. I was speaking to everybody. And everybody was unified. Sabse badi bhool Kamal ka phool. Aisa koi saga nahi, jisko Ajit Pawar ne thaga nahi. So Ajit Pawar is a liability. I believe this very firmly. And I believe that the MVA, with the guidance of Sharad Pawar ji and Sonia Gandhi ji, will form the government.
Is Ajit Pawar a liability, or could he end up becoming the kingmaker?
And he mentioned Sharad Pawar ji and Sonia Gandhi ji did not mention Uddhav ji.
Because
so
he's in the race to be chief minister.
Abhi se hi, it's very clear.
No, everyone is in the race to be chief minister.
No. And what has
of
Sanjay
course,
Raut said?
Eknath Shinde is in the race to be chief minister. Uddhav Thackeray is in the race to be chief minister. Devendra Fadnavis, the RSS is very clear, is going to be chief minister. The chief ministerial candidates to bahut hai. Nana Patole is also chief ministerial
Why should Nana Patole not be, or Vijay Bhattacharya not be, if Congress is single largest? OBC leaders should not become. I am okay if there's a female chief minister, a woman chief minister, or I'm okay if there's an OBC chief minister.
But Sanjay Raut clearly doesn't think so. So that is the whole thing, Shreya. What he was saying, what my friend says, just one second.
Sanjay Raut ji, my advice to him is he should talk less.
Dekhiye, abhi say the knives are out. The daggers are pretty much out. You can see it in the studio.
No, but the daggers have been out on both camps through this election campaign.
No, I think it's been a pretty organic unity, I would say, and that is going to be the reason of the victory of the Mahayuti alliance. They've actually gelled together, and wahi hai jo ek hai to safe hai. I wish this side, Tehseen side, had followed ek hai to safe hai. They could not stay ek. And that is the problem. He did not mention Uddhav. Sanjay Raut is very clear. He's openly, pretty much threatening Nana Patole, I would say. The language they are using, कि हमने राहुल गांधी को समझा दिया है, अब सावरकर के बारे में ना बोलना, and all this language. So they have pretty much sent this message कि आप हो गए, जो भी हो, यहाँ पे उद्धव भाव को ही बनना है. तो अभी गांव बसा नहीं, वही बात है, और लूटने आ गए, लुटेरे आ गए. Tehseen just said कि, the election commission delayed the election and then they did this. वही बात है Tehseen के साथ. ताउम्र यही गलती करती रही कांग्रेस. धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करती रही. धूल इनके चेहरे पे है. They had all the advantage in the world on June 4th. All the advantage in the world, and I have to concede that. 30 seats out of the 48 in Maharashtra were with the Maha Aghadi. Yes, soybean farmers were facing a distress. Yes, the grocery prices in the last 1 month have hurt the pocket of the common person. But they could not make it the narrative. Their entire narrative was surrounding vote jihad, this Maulana, this ulema, these 14 demands of the ulemas. So they pretty much fell into this trap. And BJP very smartly came up with the antidote to this, कि एक है तो safe है. Their unity was organic and their Nara also connected with people. They made amends with Latki Bain, which is where there is a stark difference between the political acumen of the Prime Minister and the political acumen of Rahul Gandhi. He conceded too much ground, and Tehseen will agree with me on that. Congress was the largest party in Maharashtra. Why did they give away so many seats? Why was Rahul Gandhi not visible everywhere? Why was he not the tallest leader? Bhai? He is the most popular leader according to him, leader of the opposition. Why was he not visible so much there in Maharashtra? He needs to answer that.
Sure, so I do concede on one point that my good friend Karan said, that the Congress, particularly in Vidarbha and in some seats, Sholapur, etc., conceded too much to the Shiv Sena UBT. I do believe that. And personally, as a Congress voter, I'm not a member of the party, I vote for them, I was aghast because the Congress is by far the strongest party in Maharashtra and the opposition. It's the #1 party. And in Western Maharashtra, it's Congress and NCP. I also believe firmly that the UBT Shiv Sena lost its core vote. The Hindutva vote went with BJP. Their Marathi Manus vote went with Eknath Shinde. You didn't face much anti-incumbency. So they were really riding on the votes of the Congress and the NCP, Shiv Sena UBT. That's why they also did well in the Lok Sabha elections. I also concede one point that Karan made. For pockets like, and I see Mr. Gawande here on the show, for people like Mr. Gawande, etc., who are good spokespersons, they tried and changed the narrative. And if the Maha Vikas Aghadi get through, that's fine. But if, for example, this does reverse, I do think they must stop and pause and say that in the Lok Sabha, the Congress and the MVA did set the narrative. Here, BJP was allowed to set the narrative with the batenge to katenge, etc. You cannot fall into the BJP trap. And one more thing.
But my own sense is, what was the overarching narrative?
The overarching narrative for the BJP was that Muslims are voting for Congress and MVA. And the Congress and the MVA, I think, tried too much. And some elements in this alliance were going to be small.
It eventually became about vote jihad versus dharm yudh.
Is that what?
That is what it got down to.
Yeah,
courtesy them. Courtesy them.
No, it's not courtesy.
Of course it is. Nana Patole writing a letter to the ulema saying, we will consider your demands. He should have outrightly rejected.
As per the Constitution.
What as per
that's
the
only for TV studios and that's only for headlines. Krishna Hegde, someone you're spokesperson, of course, of the Shiv Sena Shinde faction. But even as someone who's been a close observer of Maharashtra politics, was there a big agenda-setting, election-deciding narrative in this election? Because to me, it wasn't. Most reporters who have come back from the ground are saying that this election was fought on 288 seats. Each election in each constituency was a separate election. What was the big narrative? As far as I can see, there's only the Latki Behan Yojana that seemed to be binding people, at least women of the state together, but beyond that, nothing.
Shreya, I wouldn't say that there was one narrative. Every day there was a new narrative, but the univocal narrative or the common narrative is the work for the people that we did in the last 2.5 years. We were a face-to-face government, not a Facebook Live government. We went to the people. We had a scheme called Shashan Apni Dwari, where we went to all the talukas, the chief minister and both the deputy chief ministers went to every taluka in Maharashtra and addressed lakhs of people. And whatever grievances the people had from each taluka were sorted out at that level. Over that, whatever was given to the people of Maharashtra through the yojanas, whether welfare schemes, the Latki Behan being a game changer. There were umpteen yojanas for senior citizens, for youth, for farmers, for ST travel, for everybody concerned, the poor. We had things for industry. We had all investment coming back into Maharashtra. We had FDI coming back in a very big scale in Maharashtra. And therefore, people realized that this is a government which works. And the earlier government, which was there 2.5 years ago, was only making scams, whether it's COVID also, they had a scam of 6,000 crore.
But Mr.
CAG pointed out an infrastructure scam of 12,000 crore.
Okay.
There was a Vasuli Sarkar in place.
But Mr. Hegde, the people of Maharashtra realized this only 6 months ago. No, why did people of Maharashtra not realize this 6 months ago? And why are they realizing it only now? So that logic honestly will not hold.
No. The Lok Sabha elections and the Vidhan Sabha elections are two different ball games. And in the Lok Sabha election, Rahul Gandhi with a fake or maybe an empty constitution book all around the world and then going to US and saying that we want to remove reservation. I think people got the hint here that this is just a bunch of lies, and whatever they're saying about us, Gaddars and all, Bap Chor and what their names they called us, we proved it with their works. And over that, in the Lok Sabha election, the result was very clear. Eknath Shinde 47%, Uddhav Thackeray 42%. Eknath Shinde 14% of the Hindu and the Shiv Sena vote.
Anish?
Uddhav Thackeray, the Congress's Muslim vote. So who is the real winner of the election? It was Eknath Shinde. And therefore, it was very clear that Eknath Shinde is the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. He's working with both the Deputy Chief Ministers. And this is a government which is delivering and will deliver and in the future also deliver. Whereas Karan, I think, rightly pointed out, the Ulema Council, the OASCs, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, the Sajjad Nomanis all came together and made it a Muslim election. And we just had to show them the mirror. Hey, listen, this is the Aurangzeb fan club. And here we are talking about the unity of the country. And hum ek hai to safe hai.
Okay.
And that's,
no.
They all came together because the BJP called them together.
Very together. Very
Why did the ulemas come together?
For BJP.
Ulema, Maulana.
It was very well accepted by the people of Maharashtra.
Anish Gawande.
All the compensation was given to the farmers.
Essentially
the
what?
Marathas were given the reservation.
Ji, sun to lijiye. Let Anish Gawande also speak. Just because he's younger to you, you don't let him speak. Anish Gawande essentially what Krishna Hegde ji what essentially Krishna Hegde ji is trying to say is that you can only encash the sympathy card once. Wo sympathy card you have already encashed in the general election, ab nahi chalega.
But I've always maintained this, Shreya, that the narrative for the Lok Sabha elections was centered around Gaddari because the hurt was fresh. And we managed to get 8 out of 10 Lok Sabha seats in the Lok Sabha elections, right? I think for this election, you're witnessing an unprecedented ground level campaign. Pawar Sahib took out 100 sabhas over the course of the last 2 months across various regions of the state, because the only way to counter the onslaught of hate and the 9 p.m. headlines that you were being presented with every single evening was to reach voters directly. I completely agree with Tesseen's point. It's been incredibly hard to sort of counter this narrative. Every evening, you were seeing some new ulema letter, which we've proven is fake, some new photo with somebody else, and some new sort of crisis generated to ensure that attention was distracted from the core issues of corruption, inflation, and unemployment that were the defining features of this election. Now, I'll tell you why this was important, right? The 9 p.m. headline was very different from the 9 p.m. reality on the ground. I was in primarily 3 regions, Western Maharashtra, Vidarbha, and Marathwada, and taking some of our conversations on this show from there. And the sabhas that were being held were focused on soybean prices. The sabhas that were being held were focused on the farm loan waiver that Pawar Sahib granted as agriculture minister that would be granted again by the Maha Aghadi when we came to power. The conversations in people's minds and hearts were around the rise in crimes against women. And I'll tell you where this has made an impact, right? Udayji pointed out rightly that the sort of increase in voting percentages has been varied. Now, I'll give you the example of Kolhapur. Kolhapur North saw an increase of voting percentages of 5% compared to the last assembly election. Kolhapur South saw barely any increase. So you're seeing a very strange picture today, but this is a hyperlocal election. 2 seats next to each other have wildly different motivated sort of voters coming to the polling booth. Now, some of these reasons are your candidates. Some of these reasons are incredibly local factors. And as a result, these exit polls simply cannot tell you the real picture. And I think we're in for a bumpy yet very fun ride tomorrow.
Yes, fun and a very long ride by the looks of it. We don't know because we're just talking about Maharashtra.
I just want to
there
add
is
something.
Jharkhand, which is always predicted to be tied, and it's going to be close.
Add something of Maharashtra, something so your viewers will understand very short. It's so difficult to predict, and I agree completely what Mr. Gawande is saying. It's so difficult to predict. Let's look at Bandra East, where Zishan is contesting. So Zishan is the Ajit Pawar candidate, right? So he also has a sympathy because of the unfortunate assassination of his father, Baba Siddiqui ji. But then again, it's a constituency with a large number of Muslims. Will they go with Ajit Pawar? Or will they go with the Congress, NCP, and Barun Sardesai, who's the...
Correct.
And Matoshri is based there. So, you know, it's so easy to predict on stereotyping, but actually it's such a complex and local election. Then there are local factors. So it's not going to be easy. I think the reality on the ground is much different from what happened at TV studios. And I want to say this once again, I'm saying this very firmly. These Maulanas, these Ulemas, etc., all of them, they are fine, they can write. But just think, all of them came together. You know, even Yasin Malik's wife, she wrote a letter to Rahul Gandhi. I checked with Rahul. Rahul didn't get the letter. BJP spokesperson had the letter. This BJP
and
is
you know what the Hindi channel headline was? Ye rishta kya kehlata hai?
Can you believe it? And Rahul posted
सही भी तो है
क्या रिश्ता है भाई?
मैं बता रहा हूँ
Some random woman from Pakistan writes Karan Verma Karan letter. इसमें तुम्हारी क्या गलती? And you start saying ये रिश्ता क्या कहलाता है?
बोलने तो दो, आप बोलने नहीं दे रहे मुझे. बता रहा हूँ ना. I trust the intelligence of Yasin Malik's wife. I'm telling you. उसे पता है उसका हमदर्द, उसका दोस्त किधर है. तो वो सब राहुल इलान उमर भी राहुल गांधी की ओर आती है. ठीक है, सबको पता है कि भाई राहुल आज कन्हैया कुमार कहाँ पर है, आप बताओ, जिसके ऊपर पूरा इल्जाम लगा देश के टुकड़ों में, वो कहाँ आया? वो एंड में कांग्रेस इज द ट्रू कॉलिंग ऑफ ऑल दीज रैबल राउजर्स, whether it's an Ilan Umar who opposed Article 370 removal, whether it is anyone. Six for Justice ने किसको endorse किया? इनको किया. एक सेकंड, अरे आप बोलने नहीं दे रहे हो. अब मेरी एक सेकंड. और दूसरी बात जो तहसीन ने कही कि some random ulema can write us a letter. Bhai, why did Nana Patole write a letter to the ulema saying we will consider your demands? He could have said, as per constitution तो आपने कैसे किया ना? 10% Muslim reservation उसमें लिखा है. You are thinking of considering that. What did you do in Karnataka? Blanket reservation to Muslims in OBC. So they also send the wrong signals. Let's be honest about it. They clearly send those signals.
I just want to draw your attention back to the exit poll because I was speaking to 2 pollsters earlier today, and that conversation will play out at 8:30 p.m. Yashwant Deshmukh from Sea Voter says that what actually will predict an election accurately is vote share, right? We all know that. Correct. He's saying the difference between the vote share of the MVA, of the Maha Aghadi, and the Mahayuti is going to be 1%, much as it was in the general elections 6 months ago.
Yes.
On the other hand, Pradeep Gupta of Access My India is saying, nahi, ye 1% nahi hone wala difference. It is going to be 11%. So when exit polls, and these are both reputed pollsters, when the variation is so great, should we again just say ki theek hai, exit polls dekh lo, ye sare numbers aapke paas hain, but we honestly don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, both these gentlemen are extremely learned and they have a credibility attached to them. It is the interpretation of the data, I'm saying. Please understand, in North Maharashtra, which is the onion belt of Maharashtra, there are about 3 seats, only 3 seats where voting has dropped. if onion was such a big issue, Congress or NCP would have made a big issue out of it. The voting would have shown otherwise against BJP. That has not happened. Increase in voting in North Maharashtra is because of the Ladli Behna. That's number one. Number two, someone said that Ajit Pawar is a liability. Well, don't jump the gun now. There are about 26 in Western Maharashtra out of 40, where SP and AP are going to be on loggerheads with each other. अपनी सारी एनर्जी बचा के रखना भैया, तब बात करना क्या हो रहा है. Finally, I would like to make only 10 bullet points. While MVA focus on M&M, M&M is not Mahindra and Mahindra. It is Maratha and Muslim. So BJP focused on OBC. Muslims. So that's very clear. Secondly, BJP smartly what they did, where Maratha is strong, Maratha and Muslims are strong, ऐसे सिर्फ 6 constituencies पे बीजेपी कंटेस्ट कर रही है. बाकी सारे constituencies में either it is Eknath Shinde Sena or Ajit Pawar contesting, taking head on with SP, Tutari or Congress. That's very clear. That's a major revolution I'm making. Okay. Only 6 seats, and that too, who are the contestants? It is Srijaya Chavan. Srijaya Chavan from Nanded, daughter of Ashok Chavan. And Raoseb Danwe, a strong Maratha man, is also in that. That's the list.
I have 1 minute on the show, Dr. Uday. I'm going to interrupt you 1 minute. Everyone has seen exit poll numbers. We can believe them or not believe them. Why don't you just quickly in 10 seconds give us your numbers? Let's see who gets it right.
It will be close, but about 150, 155 for the MVA and about 130 for the Mahayuti. With about 60 odd to the Congress and 50-50 to Shiv Sena.
My friend Tehseen is working around his phones too much. I think the only 2 people, one are the resorts who are on standby excited. One is Ajit Pawar, and he's working so many phones. He's from Pune. I don't know what he's up to. I really don't know what he's up to.
I'm telling you,
I'm putting this out on camera.
I'm going to Bangalore.
So I think it's going to be
since Shreya is not doing, since Shreya is only sending me economy, I said let me take a seat in the charter plane.
Please report for us.
So I think it's going to be 160 in favor of the Mahayuti and 126 or 128 in favor of
Krishna Hegde.
MVA.
See, if Pradeep Gupta is right, then we are sweeping the elections. If Yashwant Deshmukh is right, we are still making the government on our own with the help of independence. And in any case, we are going to cross 160, 170 in any case. Let me tell you about this 1% advantage that we have as far as polling. Last time in Lok Sabha,
160, 170 हो गया तो resort reservations cancelled ना?
नहीं resort उन्होंने बुक किया है, उन्होंने बुक किया है resort, वो डर से बुक किया है कि जो लोग वहाँ गए वो भी भाग के हमारे पास नहीं.
Anish, 10 seconds and we'll wrap with that.
It's my first year as a spokesperson. I don't want to make it my last, so I'm not going to be a gambling man on national television today. So we'll wait for tomorrow, but I'm confident.
Safe. Anyhow,
Anish is safe. Safe है, Tehseen के साथ एक है.
We'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. आप सेफ तो हैं, लेकिन एक हैं, परेशानी तो वो है.
नहीं हो पाया ना, तहसीन और सब
नहीं हो पाया. अभी रुक जाओ. एक मिनट, 1 minute. Who is ek and who is nek? We will see once the election results are declared, because the Ghamasan is going to start then.
They didn't get jalebis last time. I don't know.
This time we'll treat you vada pav.
अच्छा चलो हो गया. Guys,
we'll treat you vada pav. Krishna bhai, vada pav for you also. I'm told at the chat.
We all have an early start tomorrow. We'll wrap it here. Thank you very much, Krishna Hegde. Thank you very much, Karan Verma. Good to have you on the show. Anish, thanks very much. Tehseen, thank you very much. And Dr. Uday, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's a wrap. News and updates continue.